So now I want to discuss a little more on the bigger picture of what it means to not lose our cool and why having that inner peace is very, 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 very important. I'll just say it on a human experience level first and then connect it to quantum physics. So I've been mentioning about inner peace a lot, and it is very, very important. And I was also taught from a very, very young age, like again I said, as I travel with God, literally, the key and the most important element was always to maintain that inner peace and balance. I don't know how to explain it to people who have never really experienced what it means to have balance from the inside. But I would rather use these words so that you will get a picture, maybe if you try to understand. So the balance is the key factor, as in try in the sense, make a real effort in every way, shape and form on a day-to-day basis to have that neutrality to things, because there's a lot of disturbance around us and that has been normalized, and we are to go through it on a daily basis, vast majority of us. And if you go look for peace or stability or some kind of a balance outside, you will never find it. It was meant to be the exact opposite, so that when we look for it on the outside, we end up getting ourselves hurt and get lost in all that nuisance. And it will make sure you don't build stability. It's the exact opposite of what humans would look for. And it's the basic foundation. If you don't have the general harmony and stability to things, then what would you build out of it? So that inner harmony, as in, like I mentioned, there will be negativity, there will be positivity, and you cannot be too much of both. Like how people were trying to enjoying their life extravagantly when I was too kind, too nice, too polite, too whatever. Right? Until I brought the balance back to my own life by realizing my worth, building boundaries, strong boundaries, and holding on too tight for it and finding that strength to do it. Because I was too weak in that area. Letting someone walk all over me and making them feel like being that kind of a martyr is okay. That's what they will brainwash you into thinking. And even though your heart and soul is saying, no, I don't like this. I'm not okay with this. So what do I do about it? You don't know. You have to go within. So once I started balancing it out by finding that strength to build boundaries, find my own worth, learn to say no and be firm about it, and not to get carried away by all the cultural and other manipulations around you and the labels that people use to dismantle or destroy your boundaries so that they can walk all over you again. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about, balance. So you can't be too much of anything, and that's the key part here. I mean, that is where the whole spiritual journey is about. It's going to come into fruition. Is you can't be so angry that you lose control over yourself, your emotions, your thoughts, and you act totally out of your character entirely. Enough to make some kind of a damaging thing for yourself or somebody around you, or thing, or whatever it is. That will leave you with unnecessary dissatisfaction, regret, pain, hurt, okay, lots of things that follow as a consequence of whatever has happened. Right? So, if you're angry and then you find a very wise way to use that anger in a constructive way, in a real balanced, positive way, where it can be channeled in a way that can bring about something good. That's what alchemy is about. And that's what balance is about. The same way, you can't be too, like I mentioned, you can't be too polite that you can't say no. You have to find a balance by realizing, oh, there's going to be a lot of things that matter to me, and that's all about me, even my privacy, my space, my things, my objects, whatever it is. Nobody is entitled to anything just like that from you. No, 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 no. Even God doesn't feel entitled to you just like that. No. So who gave you the fucking right for a mere sneaky, ratty, pathetic, small, tiny human to come and behave as if they're entitled to whatever it is yours? Space, privacy, information, ideas, love, kindness, wisdom, counsel, whatever it is, money, energy, effort. Nobody is entitled to anything from you. That's what it means to bring value to yourself and balance to your life, to realize that nobody is entitled to anything just like that. If there is anyone who is entitled, that is you. You are entitled to live your life fully. So that is why the value, that value of who you are, what matters to me, and where the boundary comes, and where the no comes, and where the enforcing of the no comes, is very important, because nobody is entitled to anything. No. If anything, if there is anybody who you think you want to give, they have to earn it. Again, there is no free reward, there is no free lunch. God and universe doesn't give free lunch. You have to work, you have to prove your worth, you have to do the peeling of onions and go through the growing pains, and take your time and go within and clean up all the muck that has accumulated since you're born, and even from previous lifetimes and whatever, and find your worth, and then stand in that worth, and then prove again and again and again and again. Universe will test you so many times before it will even give you what you want. You might have worked your ass off, you did everything. Even then you have to still prove you're going to keep it. Because see, getting is one thing. Keeping it, honoring it, respecting it the way it should, now that's going to become a very important thing. Getting is just one aspect of it. How are you going to manage to keep it? Only if you know its value, only if you know how to invest in it, only if you know things about you and things about what you are wanting and wishing, and value enough for it to work on it. Put in your energy, effort, invest, and everything that you have to do right by it. See? So it's the next part that matters the most. Getting is just one part. It's just a very small part in comparison to what occurs next. So in order for all of that, you have to find the terribly difficult, extremely challenging, but very important thing is that inner balance. Like, what do I mean by that? When I mentioned in a video on Divine Feminine, she has to literally have a mastery. It's not just learning and growing, no. She has to have mastery over how to balance the darkness and the light. This is what I mean. Light is this forgiveness, kind, loving, peace, generous, this and that. And the dark is angry, sad. She is using force. Instead of being gentle and loving and receiving, she's taking the masculine. She's being forceful. She has to demand and command, and she's fighting, or she's defending, she's doing this and that, which requires a little bit of tapping into something on a lower level, like anger, sadness, okay, and channel it in a way that works for something very good, as in righteous anger, like God does. He waits, He gives chances, He's patient, He gives options. He's gonna try and tell you, go down this path, please don't do that, warnings and signs, everything and everything and everything. The whole universe is trying to tell you something, and whether you take the path and do what you do and all that. And ultimately, by the time, let's talk about the punishments aspect. By the time the punishments have been released and meted out, it will be so fair, so perfectly given, so just. That's why it's called justice. So just that there is no excuse whatsoever, or there is no there's no way to say that it is not fair. It will be that perfect. Now, when you're bringing about punishments, it's on the dark side, because it talks about chaos, destruction, drama, death, disease. These are necessary. Why? Because for someone who has not worked on the darkness and misused and abused it, has to go through it to understand what it means to do it to others. And for that, you should be able to use that aspect of you in a way that's best. So who deserves it? Who does it? How much? When? Where? How? Why? And why? And deliver it like a judge does. You can't be too nice and kind and too... No, right? The same way. That's what I mean when I say darkness and the light side, the divine side. So one should be able to balance both of it. By the time, there are very rare moments I got really angry in my life, really, really angry. And I knew on a monumental cosmic level how that anger, because I'm filled with source energy in a human form. I know it. I've mastered it to that level where literally source and I have merged. So by the time I show anger or show the sadness, my tears take on a very different form. It's gonna hit my enemies, and whoever has hurt me enough for the tear to come out, it's gonna hit them so badly. Justice. It's gonna be so fair, so right. Because it should not have come that far. These are righteous tears of pain and sadness and suffering, which is not fair. It was never meant to be. And the consequences of it will be so severe for everyone who is responsible for it. You don't treat her like that. That's what Source says. You don't treat her like that. Enough to cause this? Because I have taught her how to be tough, be a warrior, how to be alone and fight on your own and do everything on her own. And by the time she drops a tear, it means I have built her to take on a lot more than an average person would take on. So by the time a tear drops in her, by the time she gets angry, it means you've crossed way too many boundaries and way too many laws broken, way too much of disrespect shown, way too much, that there is no forgiveness there. There really is no room for forgiveness or mercy there. Like that. That's where the darkness aspect, in a fair way, is used. That's justice. That's what it means to use something in the most righteous way. A perfect, fair, just way. The same way with anger. I have watched it because I rarely go to that space. But when I open my mouth and say something out of my mouth, I know how it manifests in the cosmics. Because it's fair. I'm built that way. You make me cry. You hurt me. You violate my privacy in every way, shape, and you disrespect me in every way, shape, and form, and you think it's a joke. God doesn't take it lightly. He's taking notes. Like I said, he's going to take his sweet time. But by the time the delivery time comes, it's going to knock the socks off everything and everybody that's involved in a way nobody would have ever envisioned. Now that's how you use darkness in a right way. The same way, if you use too much of light, it can become dark. Like I said, too much kindness, too much love, too much without boundaries and self-respect and self-love and protection for yourself. People will abuse and walk all over you, bring you pain and suffering instead of joy and happiness. Instead of freedom, they trap you. Instead of appreciation, they hurt you and criticize you, put you down. You see? That's where the balance comes in. And you have to master that in order to go anywhere near and connect anywhere near the source that I'm talking about. And that's an inner job, obviously. And that's also why they hate people with that kind of balance. That's why they target people who have that ability to build that peace for themselves instead of looking it from the outside, and build that stability from inside instead of looking it from the outside or from others. Things or objects or people or material stuff in the world or other people or through relationships or objects, things like I said, codependent things. Okay, that's why they target those kind of people, because they don't like balance. It's a mastery. It's a highly useful skill, highly powerful skill, and that is also where you get to connect with the source very well. Because it is what he is, right? It is what the source is all about, he and she. The source is both masculine and feminine in a perfect balance. So when I match it to quantum physics, a wave is infinite. It's limitless. And the source, it is self-generating. It's self-generating. There is a source, and then it is self-generating, and there is no limit to it. And it can go in any way, shape, and form, go through structures, go through things, and it has its own nature to it, but it is full, whole in itself. You know what I mean? Full and whole and complete in itself. Okay? Like the nucleus in the atom. A basic unit of our existence in the physical world. It's perfect. It's stable. It is inherently stable. Self-generating, perfect, stable, harmonious, full, whole, and complete in itself. As in, it doesn't require anything else outside of it for its living or sustenance. Now, is that how I am? Is that how God is? Is that how universe is? Is that how pure existence is? That is what it means. To be full, to be the source, to be in union with the source, to be in literal harmony with the entire cosmos. Now, how much mastery will it take? But it's beautiful, it's powerful. Now, why do all these dark forces attack that? Because you see, a wave, like I said, is self-generating, perfect. It has its own source. All it needs is a source. There is one source. And then it's infinite. It's limitless. It has unlimited potential to do anything and everything. Go anywhere and everywhere. And be anything. Being. Existence. It's not doing or achieving something, targeting something. It's being. In itself, it's whole. Okay. Now the dark forces target on that because, like this wave particle split experiments and all that, you break down a wave, it becomes particles. Now the particle, a wave is full. Like I said, it's above matter. It's above matter. That's why it's limitless. Okay, you have to understand it like that. Particle is a matter. Means it has now dwindled itself from an infinite thing to something limited. It has mass, it has weight, it has limited moment, and the more it takes action, the more mass it accrues. Wave has no mass, it's free. It's free. That's why it's limitless. Particle, on the other hand, is restricted. And in order for the wave to be full, it has to mean that there is balance between negative and positive. Let's say photon and electron. The photon is the light aspect, the electron is the dark aspect. The more darkness, the more matter which is heavy. Photon is lighter matter. Okay, it's lighter. And more and more negative comes, more and more mass, more and more matter, more and more heaviness and accumulation. Whenever they keep talking about the dark matter and black hole, the dark forces literally made or almost wanted to make Earth a black hole, from which no light ever escapes. You see what I mean? That's what it means to be disconnected with God, the source, the one source. What's there? Source is life. Take away source. It's all death, darkness, destruction, artificiality. Pathetic. There's no life there. There's no joy there. Photon. So they wanted to literally keep away the photon as much as possible by breaking down as many waves as possible, breaking down as many stable atoms as possible, to accumulate as much matter as possible, that there is negativity. That's why they focus too much on electrons everywhere in the physics. Nobody wants to mention about photons, which is where the real life is. The light aspect, the lighter aspect that can balance this matter is there. Because when you bring these two matters together, what happens? You're raising above the matter. You're dismantling and alchemizing the matter, which is on lower level, heavy, and you are still able to come out lighter. Literally light, and also light in the sense of weight. Both light. It's both shining, exposing darkness, and also rising above the darkness, alchemizing it, and also making it lighter, as in reducing the matter. So when you balance these both, what happens? You are achieving that harmony. You are coming into the wave, the limitless, the full being that don't have to produce too much matter unnecessarily without using the light, which is the balance aspect. Because when you break down, there is a positive and a negative. It has to be in balance. If it is not in balance, what happens? This is what is happening around. Too heavy, too negative, too much electron. Negative. That's why when you balance it out with as much positivity as possible, the negative cannot touch you. Because it's a higher aspect, that's why it's positive. The lower aspect is heavy and low, somewhere in the low. That's why it's dark, heavy. It's matter. You don't need that much matter. Especially the matter is coming from without balancing aspect of the lightness. It's doomed if you're like that. Okay? So that inner harmony, which balances the outer harmony with the cosmic level, you have to look at it like that. And as to why that harmony is important, why that inner balance is very important, and why they attack that. And why there is a lot of negativity around you. Because the more matter, the more light suffocates. The more light suffocates, the more darker it becomes. They can literally make it a black hole where no light ever escapes. There is no life there, which is pathetic. Especially people who want the light stuck in the darkness because somebody else's pathetic actions suffocate their light. It's not fair. If they want darkness, they can go in darkness forever. You can take it in many forms. You can call it hell. You can call it black hole. You can call it stuck in a stuck in the most dark timeline ever, where everything goes wrong. Because that's what they made everybody else's life to be, where everything goes wrong, and then they laughed about it. So now they are stuck in that timeline, in the loop, where everybody, in every time, everything goes wrong. It must. That's how the balance will come. If they have to go through it. They caused it. They created it. Now they have to balance it. It's like that. So the ones who choose light will choose the lightness, as in they not only illuminate the darkness and expose it and dismantle it, they create a lighter environment, as in higher consciousness, as in more productivity but less matter. Matter that's heavy and unnecessary and dark and suffocates light. And if you achieve the wave, this is what I am, which is an extremely rare thing. I'm not saying it's easy or a lot of people have done it or something. I have done it and I know it. God has literally let me know. That is why I have to be the creation. I am the creation. That is why when I say something, it literally manifests. Justice, you call on things, you say things, you speak with authority. I already mentioned my authority, both in the spiritual and the physical realms. I sit on the throne. Now, why all that? Because I've achieved that. Now I am the source consciousness. The source consciousness is what emanates. Whatever it is in my existence, that is what it emanates, and that is what it brings about these ripples that is necessary to happen. It won't take away the human experiences out of it. The pain, the joy, whatever aspects, okay? Both the good and bad. But in my soul, on my level, on a cosmic level, in a spirit level, I am equivalent to the source. The source, literally the source energy works through me. That's mastery. And if that's not the highest, I don't know what is. And that is also why that sacredness, that respect and that dignity to that authority is very, very, very important. Because authority is authority. Power is power. You do something repeatedly to disrespect it, there is going to be a serious consequence. It's a natural consequence to it, and it will be. A lot of my enemies right now, they still don't respect that authority and power and the stature I hold. Now, not my problem. Everything has a consequence. And you want to affect the source at that level, you're literally going against the source. And these consequences are extremely difficult, extremely severe, and unforgivable. And that is what it means to be in harmony. Because one should be able to use all the energies in the creation in a way that is justified, true, righteous, with a clear conscience. Perfect, without affecting the balance too much. And that's the power I stand in. That is why you should not play games with me. Nobody should. And nobody should disrespect me. Nobody. I don't. If you have a problem with your egos which want to judge me based on my appearances, the way I am in the human form, it's your problem. You have a lot of growing up to do. That's what it says. That's the power, authority, and the dominion I hold within myself, and that's the level at which I sit and use my authority and power. So everything about my existence is powerful, including my tears and the pain, the anger, just like my joy, my peace, my lightheartedness and love and kindness. Everything multiplies, has a ripple effect, and it's going to affect exactly where, how, who, how it should affect. That is what it means to be this divine person, this divine feminine. It's not a joke. And that's why that is what Source has taught me, because that is where He knew my potential and path was, and that is where He built me out to be. Where literally from where I was put in, I graduated to that level where I am at the highest now. And that's something purely earned. You don't disrespect that. You don't dishonor that. No. And so, that balance is how it works. And that's how it will be when it comes to using my power and authority as well.